Friends, I would like to begin with an update and clarification. In recent months and years, many readers have encountered the conclusions of potentum physics before encountering the investigation from which those conclusions emerged. They encounter the geometric atom. They encounter reciprocal closure. They encounter continuous reciprocal acceleration. They encounter matter formation. They encounter the reinterpretation of fundamental interactions. And undeniably, may I ask, where did these ideas come from? The answer is that they did not emerge suddenly. They emerged gradually, over decades, not from an attempt to invent new physics, but from an honest attempt to answer one of the oldest questions humanity has ever asked. What is it that persists? It was not a paper. It was not a theory assembled in isolation. This work is the product of nearly 3 decades of investigation of that question. A refusal to abandon a question simply because it is difficult. But we formed the International Space Sciences Organization, the California Institute for Physics and Astrophysics, Motion Sciences and Motion Physics, and ultimately now consolidated into the Academy of Science and Arts. Each became another stage on this same journey. Not a search for novelty, a search for understanding, for what actually exists. The Greeks called it atomos, the indivisible, the thing beneath all things, the thing that remains while everything else changes. For centuries, humanity searched. Galileo taught us how to measure motion. Newton taught us how to describe acceleration. Faraday revealed invisible fields of force. Maxwell unified electricity, magnetism, and light. Planck revealed quantization. Bohr discovered that atoms sing in orbits, and Schrödinger described the electron mathematically. Dirac revealed hidden symmetries. Heisenberg exposed limitations in our measurement or understanding. And Einstein transformed our understanding of space, time, and gravitation. Each revelation brought us closer, but something essential remained hidden. Not merely what is matter, but what is matter actually doing inside itself? How does it maintain its identity as an atom? How does an atom persist? How does the universe of atoms remember themselves? For nearly 30 years, I pursued variations of that question, not through cosmology alone, not through particle catalogs alone, not through speculation alone, but through geometry and the conviction that was slowly emerging that persistence itself must involve structure. If matter endures, there must be a reason. If identity survives, there must be a mechanism. If the universe remembers, memory itself must possess form. The investigation unfolded in a surprisingly simple sequence. Question: what is the geometry of the nucleus? It involves chirality, various stages of closure, to form an atom. Yet, one obstacle remained for me and so many others, but I refused to yield. What exactly is reciprocating in what we call polarity? What is that true relationship between the negative electron and the positive proton? Physics could describe them, could calculate them, yet the physical meaning of the symmetry itself remained elusive. Why should nature contain 2 complementary entities at all? Why should one appear positive and the other negative? Why should they fit together so perfectly? Why should the atom exist at all? And for many years, the answer remained incomplete. Then, during 2024 and 2025, independent investigations converged. And when they converged, the landscape changed. The electron and the proton no longer appeared merely as particles possessing opposite charge. They appeared as reciprocal geometric inversions of one another, inside out, outside in symmetries. The proton emerged as an introfluxive inversion. The electron emerged as an extrofluxive inversion, optically, geometrically. Not separate structures accidentally related or bumping into each other, but complementary expressions of one deeper geometric process. Suddenly, polarity acquired physical substance and meaning. At precisely that same year, another thread reached maturity. For decades, Dr. David Hessness pursued geometric algebra as an interpretation of quantum mechanics. His work restored geometry to the center of physical explanation. The electron is no longer treated as a probability cloud, nor merely an abstraction. The electron has become a rotor, a real geometric process, a persistent dynamical structure, a clock. For many, Hessness has recovered the meaning of the Schrödinger equation. And for me, the events of these years suggested something deeper. The Hessness rotor and its proton inversion were indeed complementary discoveries. The same architecture from different perspectives converged. The electron into closure, the proton into its inverted closure. Together, they formed a reciprocal conjugate pair in formal geometric algebra terms, a complete atomic closure. And for the first time, electron structure, proton structure, chirality, geometry, and persistence appeared as one coherent picture. But a picture is not enough. Nature must answer. Nature must decide. And so a new observatory was assembled. The Optical Reciprocal Induction Geometric Mechanics Instrument Observatory. If reciprocal closure is real, then we should be able to observe it and see it. Not what we hope, not what we imagine, not what we prefer, but what does nature do? The answer arrived with a force none of us expected. Spectra emerged. Not inserted, not fitted, not assumed, emergent to our screens. The reward for solving the geometry was not just the atom. The reward was that nature began answering back. Hydrogen appeared, then helium, then progressively larger atomic systems within a common geometric algebra conjugation logic. And then it became more astonishing. The periodicity of the table emerged. The architecture of the periodic table of atoms itself began appearing as the consequence of reciprocal closure. The reward for solving the geometry was light. It was spectra. It was periodicity. The reward was nature answering back. These questions led naturally toward potentum physics. Why does matter organize itself hierarchically, recursively? Why does persistence scale? What is the medium itself? What are neutrinos? And what are the four fundamental interactions actually doing? Physics has long described fields. Quantum theory has described vacuum states. Stochastic electrodynamics described a zero-point background. Relativity described space-time. Yet something remained conceptually unfinished. What exactly was supporting persistence itself? What is the substrate through which reciprocal structures organize themselves in these positive and negative charges. The answer emerging from potentum physics was unexpectedly simple. The medium is not empty, it is not passive, it is not a void, it is structured potentum, potential momentum, pure push and pull, agency in potential reciprocity. And then the periodic table unfolds, not as a catalog, not as a list, but as a chronology of the evolution of stars, a history of matter learning how to remember itself. And suddenly the little red dots cease being astronomical curiosities. They become possible windows into the earliest acts of creation, places where matter first learns how to persist, places where hydrogen first emerges, places where helium follows, places where the periodic story itself begins. And now we find ourselves confronting other mysteries. The neutrino, the weak interaction, the origin of inertia, the nature of gravitation, the structure of the vacuum, the emergence of complexity, the emergence of life, the emergence of consciousness. If photons accompany changes of state of energy, what accompanies changes of identity itself, of atomic number Z? Perhaps neutrinos? If electromagnetism governs closure energy state modulation, what governs closure transmutation? What governs closure retention? And what governs closure density organization writ large? Suddenly the four interactions begin to appear differently, don't they? Electromagnetism as a closure state modulation, the strong force as closure retention, the weak interaction as closure transmutation, and gravity as closure density organization. Four interactions, one underlying process that yields persistence. Our universe becomes understandable not as a collection of things, but as a recursive hierarchy so successful as to create all atoms, all molecules, all stars, all galaxies, all worlds, all life, all of our minds, our civilization, each representing memory that has endured, each representing closure becoming durable. This realization leads naturally to the deepest inversion of all. Physics traditionally teaches that inertia represents the absence of acceleration. Potentum suggests something profoundly different. Persistence is not the absence of activity. Persistence is perfectly balanced activity. The atom has never been resting. The atom is succeeding. Hydrogen is the first durable memory of creation. Helium is its second chapter and all the stars it creates. And the periodic table is the autobiography of our persistence. The little red dots may be humanity's first glimpse of creation in progress. The universe remembers, matter is memory, and light is its testimony. And the story of creation is still being written. Thank you, and good evening.